when I'm doing TV and I got 18, God damn it, can't everybody stop for 10 minutes? I mean, everybody seems that's the only, everybody can we stick, Jesus Christ. I mean, it's not that much to ask. Is that when everybody has to move when I'm trying to concentrate?
Hey, somebody has run out on the field. Some goofball in a hat and a red shirt. Now he takes off the shirt. He's running down the middle by the 50. He's at the 30. He's bare-chested and banging his chest. Now he runs the opposite way. He runs at the 50. He runs at the 40. The guy is drunk, but there he goes. The 20. They're chasing him. They're not going to get him. Waving his arms, bare-chested. Somebody stop
Look
that
out,
man.
here comes the blue coat,
Oh,
Kevin.
they got him.
Here
They're
comes
coming
the blue
from the
coats.
left. Oh, and they tackle him at the 40-yard line.
I'm sorry to explode like that, but it's like no one's ever worked on TV here before.
That was the most exciting thing to happen tonight.
Welcome to the ENFLP, the Egyptian NFL podcast. My name is Muzzy, and my name is no one else is here. It's just me. Abdo, for the second time you have left me alone. انت فين يا عبدو؟ ليه كده بس يا عبدو؟ يعني في الاول ان قلنا هنعمل كل ابسود كل اسبوع مع بعض. اول اجازه جت انت سافرت، تاني اجازه جت انت سافرت تاني. What am I gonna do now? Yeah, that's right. I'm speaking in Arabic for the first time on the podcast to try to get your attention that I'm here. Why are you leaving me alone all the time? Anyway, let's keep going. I hope he comes back next week. He traveled because the holiday came up. He wanted to run away from the city again and run away from me again. But I'm going to be over it. I'm over it. I think I am. I don't know. We'll find out. Even if he's here, he's sleeping anyway most of the time. So why does it matter? It's not like he's here doing anything. He's just going to sleep while I'm talking to him. So maybe it's best that he's not here. That's right, Abdu. We'll talk about this when you get back. Well, don't worry. We'll hug it out in the end, so it'll be totally fine. Anyway, let's get started with Week 4. Wow, the NFL season is really kicking off in a really good way, and we're trying to find out now who are the teams that are competing for real, which teams look legit and which teams don't. The Cleveland Browns are the only team that haven't won a game yet. We'll get to the Cleveland Browns game in a little bit. Let's start off with the Miami Dolphins at the Cincinnati Bengals. The Thursday night game, Cincinnati Bengals winning 22-7. Man, that Dolphins offense is not working at all right now. It's a shame, really, because there was so much hype with Adam Gase taking over a head coach that he was going to really make the Dolphins offense really special. They were pretty special without him. And now they're just worse. Whatever. A.J. Green, 173 yards, 1 touchdown. Man, A.J. Green in this game looked like he was playing against boys. Every time he would catch the ball, it looked like the defender had no chance. Absolutely no chance against him. The Dolphins, their defense held up pretty well, though. The offense of the Bengals didn't play that well, you know. But hey, they lost Mohamed Sanu last year. They lost Marvin Jones last year. They have no Tyler Eifert. He's still injured, their tight end. And Giovanni Bernard isn't really doing much, which is kind of a shame. Because the Bengals offense under Hugh Jackson last year, when he was their offensive coordinator, was doing really well. And they looked really, really beautiful in the way they played. There were a lot of trick plays, a lot of deep balls. Right now, nothing's really happening. But they pulled it off and they won against a really weak Miami Dolphins team. I'm curious to see where the Bengals go this year. Let's move on to the Indianapolis Colts at the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jacksonville Jaguars winning 30-27. Both teams are now 1-3. Man, the Jacksonville Jaguars haven't been able to win this season. And of course they're going to beat the Colts. If you're going to beat anyone, you're definitely going to beat the Colts. Wow, do the Colts look like a sad, sad affair is happening there. It's such a shame. This game was played in London. Bortles of the Jaguars had no turnovers. Maybe that's why they won. He kept on turning the ball over every time. 2 touchdowns and 1 rushing touchdown. Wow. There was one play in this game that really, really blew my mind. Hearns, the Jacksonville Jaguars receiver, caught a ball, a short ball, ran upfield. There were 4 Colts players running at him to tackle him, and he just made one juke, beat the angle, and went for the touchdown. It was pretty impressive. Andrew Luck needs help. Andrew Luck needs help right now. From his defense, he needs help on offense. His offensive line are letting him getting sacked 6 times in this game. He had a sack interception. He really needs help. They had a chance to win it in the end of the game. There was a weird play call in the last drive. Andrew Luck had the ball. It was 3rd and 1, and they decided to throw it. Why would you throw it when you have Frank Gore? Or why would you throw it when Andrew Luck can run? You can do a quarterback sneak. You can do anything you want. Why would you need to throw it? It's 1 yard. And he ended up being a dropped pass to the tight end. Man, the Colts really need help. The Tennessee Titans at the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans winning this game 27-20. Houston Texans go on to be 3-1 and Titans 1-3. Now, last week I said whoever wins this game is going to have a better season, and it looks like the Texans clearly are the better team, and I think they're going to win this division. And I think having that 2-game advantage over everyone else, no one will be able to catch up to them. Hopefully. Mostly because that is what I want. What is happening with the passing game of the Titans? Marcus Mariota. They didn't really start hot. They came back later on in the second quarter and started doing stuff. But they were down 14-0. They weren't really starting hot at all. And that needs to change if they want to win some football games. Because their defense is not extremely reliable. DeMarco Murray had 95 yards, 2 touchdowns. DeMarco Murray, I'm so happy for him. When he was with the Eagles last year, everyone was saying that he was only good because he had that Cowboys offensive line with him. He played 1 year, the Eagles didn't work out, went to the Titans, and now you see how good of a running back he is. He's carrying the Titans all by himself. I am extremely happy for him. Let's move on to the Texans offense now. Will Ferrell, I can't say his name. His name is quite of a tongue twister. Will Fuller had 81 yards and a touchdown receiving. This guy's a rookie wide receiver. And not only that, he had a punt return for 67 yards that won them the game. Good for Will Fuller. He's taking all the attention away from Andre Hopkins. Andre Hopkins only had 1 catch this game. Brock Osweiler, 254 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also threw 2 interceptions. Against a better team, he's going to have to protect the ball a little better. Let's move on to the Cleveland Browns at the Washington team. Or like Hussein and Abdo like to call them, the Washington Wolves. But they're not here, so I'm going to call them the Washington team. Maybe if they were here, I would have called them the Washington Wolves. But whatever. So the Cleveland Browns at the Washington team winning 31-20. Cleveland Browns not winning a game yet, going 0-4. Cleveland Browns. What is happening with the Browns? Why can't they win football games? What is going on? What is up with their history? It's absurd. It's absurd how many losing seasons they keep having. And they have some talent, but they're just not winning. It's like they're cursed. They were losing 14-0 and then became 14-14 and then eventually became 20-17 for the Browns. So you came back, you did all you had to do, which is just be in the lead. Now try to win a football game. And they couldn't. They had 2 fumbles, they fell apart, and the Washington team came back and won 31-20. Jordan Reed, the Washington team's tight end. This guy had a great year last year. He had a great game, 2 touchdowns for him. Good for him. Terrell Pryor of the Browns, he's still going strong, 46 yards, 1 touchdown. Josh Norman, he had that 1 interception against Terrell Pryor. That was beautiful. That was a beautiful pick. Let's move on to the Seattle Seahawks at the New York Jets. The Seattle Seahawks winning this game 27-17. The Seahawks beating the Jets. Seahawks going 3-1. Jets going 1-3. Wow, Fitzpatrick, 3 interceptions. That makes it 9-2 games. Wow, man, that sucks. I'm worried about the Jets benching him, but they don't really have any reliable backups, so maybe they just have to roll the dice and hope that these were 2 unlucky games against 2 good defenses. Russell Wilson, wow, 309 yards, 3 touchdowns. Russell Wilson had a great game. He was on fire, and the offense is clicking, and the offense is working. Jimmy Graham, 113 yards receiving. Now, it always looked like when Jimmy Graham was playing for the Seahawks, their offense wasn't clicking because he was there. He was not the kind of player that the Seahawks needed in a tight end position. They've had to change their offense to suit him, and it's working, and their offense looks great. Jimmy Graham had a great 100 catch that just showed his elite tight end play. But the Jets could not pull it off because Richard Sherman had 2 interceptions. Earl Thomas had 1 interception. Richard Sherman, by the way, he was beat a couple of times against Brandon Marshall in the beginning of the game, but he came back and had 2 picks just to show how good of a cornerback he is. And he fought back. Good for him. Earl Thomas had an interception. A really funny situation happened in this game. Alright? Earl Thomas was caught saying something really loud on a ref's microphone. This is what happened. The Jets had a sack fumble, but the ball, instead of going backwards, it just flew past the line of scrimmage and flew forwards. It looked like Fitzpatrick threw an incompletion. All the Seahawks players just stopped because they also thought it was an incompletion. But that didn't happen to the Jets. The Jets didn't stop playing, and they played until the whistle. Now, why is it so important to play till the whistle? If you play till the whistle, you guarantee you did as much as you can possibly do to win the game. Okay? Lucky for the Seahawks, this play didn't matter too much for them because they were already ahead so much. But all their players stopped playing and let a Jets wide receiver pick up the ball and just run and score a touchdown. And then Earl Thomas was caught saying on a referee's mic, Fitzpatrick's hand was going forward. It was going forward. But it wasn't. And it was a fumble. So you can't really play like that. Now, this is the Seahawks defense, and they're amazing, and they are really good because of how smart they are. But they just let it go in that one single play. But that was really, really funny situation. Now let's move on to the Buffalo Bills at the New England Patriots. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Even Ben Affleck couldn't believe that this happened, and Ben Affleck is a Patriots fan. Buffalo Bills winning 16-0. The Patriots haven't been shut out at home since 93. The Patriots are now 3-1. The Bills, they started 0-2 and now they're 2-2. I was hard on Rex Ryan, and I still don't think that he's a Super Bowl winning head coach, but he deserves credit for what he's done the past 2 games. His defense were on fire. They had 5 fumbles. Now, they only recovered 1 of them, but this game could have been way worse for the New England Patriots. Brissett, the rookie, he had a weird play where he was scrambling and he ran upfield. He was holding the ball with one hand. He got hit and he fumbled it. He showed his rookie mistake right there. But hey, Tom Brady's coming back. And we know when Tom Brady comes back, that won't be happening anymore. So the Bills, I'm going to give it to you. Okay, you won this game fair and square. But this ain't going to happen again when you play against the Patriots later on in the year. You could forget about it if you think it's going to happen. Where is Gronkowski? What has been happening with Gronkowski? He's been injured at the beginning of the season. He's been active a couple of games against the Texans in this game. He only had 1 catch in this game. It looks like the Patriots are taking it really slow with him. I have him in my fantasy team, and I picked him in my 2nd pick overall. So I expected a lot out of him. And so far, first 4 games, he's only had 1 catch. But hey, they're saving him. They're saving him for when it matters. They're already 3-1. When Brady comes back, they're going to have both of them ready. They're going to be on fire. And Hussein said this, and credit to him, because that shows exactly what they're doing. Let's move on to the Carolina Panthers at the Atlanta Falcons. Wow. I can't believe the Falcons won this game. Mostly because of how they won it. The Carolina Panthers just fell apart. The Atlanta Falcons offense rolled all over them, scoring over 40 points. Now, I said, yeah, the Falcons offense is a great offense. Matty Ryan throwing 500 yards for 4 touchdowns. And Julio Jones catching 300 receiving yards and a touchdown. They are the first quarterback and wide receiver to ever do that in the NFL. Julio Jones was just 40 yards away from breaking the record in a single season game for receiving yards. But wow, That was impressive. That was deep ball after deep ball, and the Panthers defense couldn't do anything about it. Cam Newton got hit in the head again. Again got hit in the head. He went out of the game. Derek Anderson, their backup, came in. Man, the Panthers really need to protect Cam Newton. They really, really need to protect him. He's taking way too many hits. He's become a target for defenses, and it's becoming really worrying for them because Derek Anderson isn't going to be your quarterback for the rest of the season, is he? He's just a backup. He's just back up there to hold a clipboard for Cam Newton and help him out. But he's not really going to play for you. So you got to protect Cam Newton. But this is how bad the Atlanta Falcons defense is. The Atlanta Falcons defense let Derek Anderson throw for over 100 yards in a very little amount of time. The Atlanta Falcons let in a lot of points. Now, they're 3-1, and they're on fire right now. But if you look at their schedule coming up, they play the Broncos, they play the Seahawks, and then later on in the season, they face teams like the Cardinals and the Chiefs and the Eagles. Those are 5 tough games. If they're legit, their defense is going to have to play better against those teams. But here's the thing. You're going up against really good defenses coming up. Are you going to be able to maintain your offensive firepower? We'll find out. But I don't think they will. They might end up being a 9-7 or even an 8-8 team. And this is very typical of the Falcons. So don't rule that out. But they, on offense in this game, I got to give them credit. Now, I'm a Saints fan and I would hate to give Falcons any credit. But I have to give credit to their play-action plays. Now, they would fake handoffs to their running backs and then throw deep to Julio Jones. And every time, it was amazing. There was one play where the Panthers defense moved all the way to the side of the field where they thought the Falcons were running the ball. And Julio Jones was wide open on the other side. They fooled the Panthers defense. They made them look like they were not the Panthers defense. So credit to that. But I still don't think they'll be able to keep it up. Let's move on now to the Oakland Raiders at the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens losing this game against the Raiders. The Raiders won 28-27. Both teams are now 3-1. Wow, that was quite a game. Very good game on the Raiders. Derek Carr had 4 touchdowns, 199 yards. Michael Crabtree. I want to talk a little bit about Michael Crabtree. He had 3 touchdowns in this game. He was on fire. Michael Crabtree got picked for the San Francisco 49ers in the first round of the draft. This guy came out of Texas Tech, and there was so much hype on him. There was so much hype on him being an amazing wide receiver. And his first few years with the 49ers, he was an amazing wide receiver. He had one bad year with the 49ers, and all of a sudden the Raiders get him in free agency really cheaply, and he was showing that he's a great pickup and he's a great wide receiver. He has a really good story with Richard Sherman. When he was playing with the 49ers, Richard Sherman and him had a spat in the end of an NFC Championship game. That kind of was the beginning of the end for him in San Francisco. But he's been around for a while, and he's a very big name to keep up with. I'll tell you what's another big name. Steve Smith Sr. Steve Smith Sr., 37 years old, 111 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. Wow, Steve Smith had a great touchdown. Probably one of my favorite plays of the week. He caught a ball in the middle of the field, had a stiff arm, and ran for like 20 yards and scored a touchdown. That was amazing after the stiff arm running for 20 yards, scoring a touchdown. Steve Smith is a force to be reckoned with. He looks amazing. Let's move on now to the Detroit Lions at the Chicago Bears. Hussein, your Bears won 17-14. What did I tell you? Brian Hoyer, 302 yards and 2 touchdowns. Man, Brian Hoyer might look like he might be the starting quarterback of the Bears if he keeps this up. They've already said that they might not start Jay Cutler when he comes back from his injury. Now, the Bears defense showed up today. They didn't show up all season until today. And they really stopped that Lions offense. Matthew Stafford throwing for 2 interceptions, but it was really the receivers' fault. Now, I talked a little bit in week 1 about the immaturity of the Lions receivers and the maturity of the Lions, and it's starting to show up in these losses. They're ruining the game for themselves. But hey, the Bears, they look like they can start picking things up. I don't think they're going to do amazingly for the rest of the season. But hey, they're doing well, and they have great, great potential. They have excellent receivers in Eddie Royal, Kevin White. Finally had a good game for them. The second-year player, he was injured the whole year last year. Alshon Jeffrey's there, and Miller's there, their tight end. They can do a lot of damage looking forward. Let's move on to the Denver Broncos at the Tampa Bay Bucks. The Denver Broncos winning 27-7. Denver Broncos still undefeated, and the Tampa Bay Bucks are now 1-3. I don't know if anyone will ever make this link, but I want to remind you, before the season started, I mentioned Paxton Lynch, the rookie that the Broncos drafted. Now, he was the backup quarterback for the Broncos, and Trevor Siemian was named their starter. I said that a quarterback controversy might happen here, where Trevor Siemian might play, he might do well, but he might get injured or something might happen where Paxton Lynch might have to come on. And Paxton Lynch did really well when he came on. 170 yards, 1 touchdown. And hey, I think he should start. I think Paxton Lynch should be the quarterback of the Denver Broncos. He looked amazing. Aqib Talib, the cornerback of the Broncos. Now, he used to play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is his first game back in Tampa Bay, and he had 2 interceptions. Wow, what a way to stuff it to the Tampa Bay organization. Jameis Winston, 2 interceptions, 179 yards. Man, after the first game he had against the Falcons, and now what's been happening with him, maybe it just shows how bad the Falcons' offense is, that you let Winston have that great of a game against you. Let's move on to the LA Rams at the Arizona Cardinals. The LA Rams winning 17-14. Man, this game makes me so mad. This game makes me so mad because the Arizona Cardinals are falling apart, and I'm really worried. I had picked them to win the Super Bowl, and I don't know if they can come back and do that. Carson Palmer got injured, and now he looks like he's not going to play the next game. Drew Stanton is their backup quarterback. He came on and threw 2 interceptions. The Cardinals might lose another game. They might go 1-4. Man, the Rams, how are they winning games? They're winning games. They're winning the hard games. Like Hussein said, Jeff Fisher wins the hard games but loses the easy games. It looks like that's going to keep happening this year as well. They got helped out, though, in special teams, and they got helped on a fumble that helped them win the game. The Cardinals, they were up 14-10, and they just lost this game. Man, I am mad. Let's move on to the Dallas Cowboys at the San Francisco 49ers. Dallas Cowboys winning 24-17. Cowboys have 2 rookies in Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott. Cowboys are now 3-1. They're winning with rookies. Wow, Dak Prescott 245 yards. Ezekiel Elliott 138 rushing yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 touchdown receiving. Ezekiel Elliott is leading the NFL in rushing yards. A rookie is leading the running back rushing yards in the first 4 weeks. Good for him. Dak Prescott, 0 interceptions in the first 4 games. You know how rare that is for a rookie? That's so rare. That's so rare for a rookie to have 0 interceptions in the first 4 games of his career. That's amazing. Good for the Cowboys. Man, see what happens when Tony Romo is no longer your quarterback. See what happens. You start winning football games. You just had to bench Tony Romo this whole time and get better players. Now let's move on to the New Orleans Saints at the San Diego Chargers. The Saints finally winning a game this season, going 35-34. That makes me feel great. But I have to be honest with you. Yeah, the Saints won, and I'm happy for them, and I'm happy that we're not 0-4, trust me. I'm relieved more than happy, honestly. The San Diego Chargers were up 34-21. There was a really interesting stat how when San Diego Chargers were up 34-21, that the Saints had a 1.5% of winning that game. The Saints had a 1.5% chance of coming back and winning that game, and they pulled it off. But why did they pull it off? The San Diego Chargers had 2 fumbles. 2 fumbles in the end of the game to give the Saints really good field position. And the Saints capitalized on 2 fumbles of the Chargers. One, a running back fumbled it, and another, a wide receiver, literally caught a ball, took 2 steps, and just dropped the ball. He just dropped it. He just literally let it go without anything happening. Drew Brees coming back in San Diego and winning this game. He was very emotional to begin the game. And to end the game, he also was very emotional to win the game. A lot of Saints players were saying how during this game they were upset with themselves because they wanted to win the game for Drew Brees and let him have a victory as he comes back in San Diego. As a Saints fan, that kind of makes me feel happy that everyone's fighting for Drew Brees. But I kind of want you to fight for the season. I kind of want you to win games throughout the season and not just in a specific moment. Now, you realized how to win a football game this year. Now, can you keep that up and keep it going for the whole year? Mark Ingram, 56 yards rushing and 49 receiving and a touchdown. Mark Ingram, I love Mark Ingram. Every time the Saints would call a play his way, it would work. Extremely reliable. I want them to be based around Mark Ingram. If our offense can be based around Mark Ingram, we could be amazing. Kuhn! Our fullback, Kuhn, used to be with the Packers. Every time he would get the ball, the Packer fans would yell out, Kuhn! And now the Saints fans do it. Kuhn had 3 touchdowns. When do you see a fullback having 3 touchdowns? How rare is that? 2 rushing and 1 receiving. He was the reason we came back because he was executing. You are amazing, sir. You are my new love, and I love you. In the end of this game, the Saints fans were so loud that it felt like a home game for the Saints. They took over that San Diego stadium. The Saints came in and they took over. Good for the Saints. I am happy this week. The Kansas City Chiefs at the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers whooping the Kansas City Chiefs 43-14. The first half ended with a shutout, 29-0. The Steelers going 3-1. The Kansas City Chiefs going 2-2. Man, Kansas City Chiefs, 3 turnovers and a terrible punt, which actually counts as a 4th turnover. Pittsburgh Steelers offense was rolling. Ben Roethlisberger, 300 yards and 5 touchdowns. Le'Veon Bell is back from his suspension, 144 yards rushing. Antonio Brown, 2 touchdowns. That offense looked beautiful. Deep balls everywhere. Beautiful running by Bell. Wow, the Pittsburgh Steelers look like they are going to be amazing this year. The Kansas City Chiefs offense didn't perform quite well. Alex Smith, what a bummer. But hey, Pittsburgh Steelers defense, got to give them credit. Hopefully they can keep it up for the rest of the season if they can. The Steelers might be a very dangerous team. Looking forward to the Super Bowl. Alright, let's move on to the Monday night game. The New York Giants at the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings winning 24-10. Of course the Vikings won. Are you kidding me? With that defense, of course the Vikings won. You see how my voice is going so high? Because that's how amazing they are. Of course they won. It's amazing. They are 4-0 now, after losing their starting quarterback and their starting running back. The Giants went 2-2 because they couldn't do anything against that Vikings defense. Sam Bradford had 262 yards, 1 touchdown. He is 3-0 now as a Vikings quarterback. The Giants. What happened in this game with the Giants? Let me tell you what happened in this game with the Giants. It looks like there's a problem with Odell Beckham. Okay? He doesn't look like he's playing happy football. He got hit late twice in a row. He got up the second time, went up to the referee and was telling him, hey, I'm getting hit late a lot. Yes, he went right up to the referee, and you can't do that in American football. This isn't soccer where you can go talk to the referees and surround him and intimidate him. In NFL, you don't go talk to the referees at all. Your captains and your head coaches do that. In American football, you can't do that stuff. He got an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty called on him. And then after that, it looked like mentally he wasn't even there. And then after the game, the head coach of the Giants, Ben McAdoo, I say McAdoo because every time I look at him, he just looks like a McAdoo. But Ben McAdoo calls him out after the game and says that he's becoming a distraction. Eli Manning saying that he's bringing this upon himself. Why are they calling out Odell Beckham like that? Odell Beckham is probably your best player. Next to Eli Manning, if not better than Eli Manning. Odell Beckham is your man. If he's facing trouble, you need to support him. Odell Beckham coming out after the game saying that he's not having fun anymore playing football, that he feels like he's not getting targeted at the right times to help them win football games. He's calling out the team as well. So you have the head coach and the quarterback on one side calling out Odell Beckham in the media, and then you have Odell Beckham calling out the team and the media as well. What's going on here? I have a bad feeling that Odell Beckham might no longer be a New York Giant soon. When his contract runs out, I can't imagine he'll stay there. Unless they trade it. If they don't get this resolved, and this keeps blowing up, they might have to trade him away. And that would be huge. They need to move on from that. The Minnesota Vikings, 4-0. If you look at their schedule, they have 4 games that are potentially hard. The Eagles, the Cards, the Packers, and the Cowboys. They can beat those teams. With the way those teams are performing, the Eagles are hot. But you can see the Vikings defense stopping all of those teams. The Vikings might end the season with a really good record. They might win the conference. You should beware of the Vikings. I don't think anyone wants to play them right now. And that's exactly where you want to be. So good for the Minnesota Vikings. Good for Hans Zimmer. Hans Zimmer, I respect him a lot as a head coach after this. He's probably up there right now with Bruce Arians and Belichick for me. I really respect this guy. After all that he's done, getting his team to win like this. Good for Hans Zimmer. His name is not Hans Zimmer. Hans Zimmer is the composer who did The Dark Knight. I don't know why I'm saying Hans Zimmer. I mean Mike Zimmer. Man, Hans Zimmer, get out of my head with your Dark Knight music. Ugh. Alright, let's move on. That was week 4. I want to talk a little bit about my shout-outs of the week. I want to talk about a very interesting thing that happened this week. I got a friend request from this fella, from this guy called Ali Rafiq. Ali Rafiq is currently the head of the Egyptian Federation of American Football, EFF. He sends me a friend request on Facebook. And then he sends me a message saying, "Hello, Mustafa." And I reply saying, "Hello." And then 2 days pass and I hear nothing from him. Now I start thinking, why is this guy sending me a "Hello, Mustafa"? Is he sending me a "Hello, Mustafa" because we talked about FF a couple of weeks ago and he found out? And that's his way of telling me, I found out you mentioned FF. Was it like a threat? Is he like hitting on me? Does he like want to be friends? What was going on? But he ended up replying and we had a very, very lovely conversation. Very awesome guy, complimenting our podcast. Thank you, Ali, for that. Very appreciated. Very humble guy. Very, very humble guy. You must go through a lot to be where you are right now and all the responsibilities that you have. I can't imagine what your job may be like. But hey, you're an awesome dude. Thank you for your compliments and thank you for your nice words. We appreciate it. I really, really want to get him on our podcast. We talked a little bit about getting him. I would love to have him in our Super Bowl episode right before the FF season gets undergoing and see everything that's been going on with the league right before it starts. We'll get to that. I want to make another shout out to this fella, my friend, my teammate, Derby. That's his name. We call him Derby. Derby, you called me out and was talking about Drew Brees. Now, this is the 3rd week in a row that I have to talk about this, and I'm okay with talking about it. I'm glad you brought it up because I want people to know how good Brees is. I think Drew Brees is the 3rd best quarterback in NFL history because in the stats, he is 3rd best in everything. He's under Brett Favre and Peyton Manning. Now, Tom Brady has more Super Bowls, and I think Tom Brady winning has been in a better situation than Drew Brees. But if you look at the Saints, they haven't helped Drew Brees to be as good as Tom Brady. They've let go of so many players that Tom Brady has had. They have Gronkowski, who used to be Jimmy Graham. They've had a solid offense, and while we've lost Darren Sproles, we've lost Reggie Bush, we've constantly lost offensive players, and the Patriots have kept their core on defense and on offense. And the Saints haven't been able to do that. And I think Drew Brees, if he was in a better situation, he could have won 4 Super Bowls for sure. if not 3. So, that aside, as a quarterback by himself in the quarterback position, Drew Brees is 3rd best in history. And he might finish his career leading in NFL history in throwing yards, and touchdowns, and in completion percentage. So, Drew Brees is an amazing quarterback. And you need to realize that, guys. I can't believe I just said that. I can't believe I just said Drew Brees is a great quarterback. And you need to realize that, guys. I sound like the person who was talking about Britney. Leave Britney alone. Leave Drew Brees alone. No, but seriously, totally leave Drew Brees alone. It's not fair. Alright, let's move on to week 5. Let's make some picks right here. The Arizona Cardinals play the San Francisco 49ers in San Francisco on the Thursday game. Man, the Arizona Cardinals don't have Carson Palmer. They have their backup Stanton playing as quarterback. The San Francisco 49ers don't really look reliable. You know what? I'm going to pick the San Francisco 49ers for this game. I think Arizona is just falling apart, and I see that continuing. If Drew Stanton can manage to not turn over the ball, maybe the Cardinals will win, but I think he's going to turn over some balls, and I think the San Francisco 49ers might win this game. The New England Patriots against the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. The Patriots, of course, they were shut out by the Bills, but I don't see them playing nearly as bad as they did last week. This is the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns might lose yet another game and go 0-5. Wow. The Philadelphia Eagles at the Detroit Lions. Eagles had a bye week last week. They're coming back rested and fresh. I picked the Eagles. I don't think the Lions can do anything right now. And the Eagles are going to be fresh. They're going to be rested. Eagles all the way. The Chicago Bears at the Indianapolis Colts. I was full of praise of Chicago beating the Lions. This is yet another 2 teams that don't really look that great. But I think the Indianapolis Colts are going to win this game. I think they're not going to go 1-4. I think Andrew Luck will pull it off. I picked the Colts. Tennessee Titans at the Miami Dolphins. Oh, Tennessee, come on. I hope you win this game. Tennessee really needs to win this game. They can win it. I think they're a better team than Miami. And I think the Titans will win this game. Marcus Mariota should have a better game against the Dolphins. DeMarco Murray is rolling. So let's go, Tennessee. The Washington team at the Baltimore Ravens. I love the Baltimore Ravens. They really surprised me. They look really good. Joe Flacco, Steve Smith all the way. I'm picking Baltimore. Houston Texans at the Minnesota Vikings. Are you kidding me, the Vikings? Vikings are going to win this game again. And they're going to go 5-0 against the Houston Texans. Houston Texans don't have J.J. Watt. Minnesota Vikings are going to win this game. The New York Jets at the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers looked very hot, and the Giants have been very cold. The Jets, have been very cold the past 2 weeks. I'm picking the Pittsburgh Steelers to beat the New York Jets. The Atlanta Falcons at the Denver Broncos. Now, this is what I was talking about Atlanta Falcons having to play harder teams as the season goes along. And I don't think their offense, even though they looked really good, is going to do the same thing against the Denver Broncos defense. That defense is different. They're not going to let you do what you did against the Panthers or against any other defense that you've played against this year. I'm picking the Denver Broncos. The Cincinnati Bengals at the Cowboys. Cincinnati Bengals at the Dallas Cowboys. This is an interesting game. I think this is a sneaky game of the week right here. Because Cincinnati Bengals, they're a winning team. And so are the Cowboys. This is going to be a close game. I'm going to pick the Cowboys. The Buffalo Bills at the Los Angeles Rams. This is an interesting game. I'm picking the Buffalo Bills to win against Los Angeles. Los Angeles might look at this game as an easy game because the Buffalo Bills aren't that great of a team, but that Buffalo Bills defense is going to come out swinging against that terrible Los Angeles Rams offense. The San Diego Chargers at the Oakland Raiders. San Diego Chargers falling apart against the Saints last week. The Raiders should win this game easily at home. That Raiders home base need a victory at home. They haven't won a home game in a while. This is going to be the one they win. The New York Giants at the Green Bay Packers. Oh, there's so many problems right now in New York that I think the Packers are going to win this game. They had a bye week last week. They're going to be rested. They're going to be hot and they're playing at home. I picked the Packers. The Monday night game, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Carolina Panthers. I think Cam Newton will play this game. He went undergo concussion protocol last week, but I think he'll play this game, it being a Monday night game. Carolina Panthers should come back and beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and win this game. Now there are 4 teams who have bye weeks: Kansas City Chiefs, the New Orleans Saints, the Seattle Seahawks, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Those 4 teams have bye weeks, so we have a bit of less teams playing and less games. Man, that makes up week 5. I made my picks. Wow. I am so happy that I managed to do all of that by myself. Can I just clap for myself? I hope if you finished this episode, I hope you realize how hard it was for me to do all this episode by myself. Constantly talking for 40 minutes without any commercials, without any breaks. Man, that feels great. I feel amazing right now. Abdo Hussein have left me. Abdo, come back. Hussein, come back. Why are you guys doing this to me? Here at the ENFLP, the Egyptian NFL podcast, I am all alone. All by myself. Man, it doesn't feel great. But hey, that makes up episode 5. Eventually I'm going to have to keep counting them because we're rolling here at the ENFLP. Now that I'm by myself, I can say, who dat? And hope that the Saints win some games. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. I'm going to say good night and good luck to everyone. I hope you have a fantastic week. I'll see you next week where hopefully Abdu comes back because I am all by myself. Who dat?
I'm sorry to explode, my guy, but it's like no one's ever worked on TV here before.
Oh, that was the most exciting thing to happen tonight.